guys, welcome back to my channel. From Asia with Loves is my visual diary, and I am yours truly, Asia. So I wanted to do phase 2 for the 4 phases of February for me that I'm working on in terms of all of the categories in my life for my personal growth. So last week was reading, and I shared with you all my favorite books and all of some of the authors that I've been reading as of late. And this week is going to be about writing. Writing is the weakest part of my creative side, because I am a visual learner. I've always been. Now that I think about it, growing up, I used to really kind of get the gist of anything that's taught to me when I can visually see it being done after it being told to me verbally. So now that I'm older, I realized that when it came to writing, I was so afraid to write anything. I just saw it in my head visually, and I thought, okay, let me do it like this, let me direct them like this. And I realized that if I'm gonna ever get anywhere in life, is to confront my fear of writing and actually physically write down some of the stories that I have and some of the ideas that I have for some of the scripts I will have. So I wanted to share with you just a couple of things. So I'm starting now to make sure that I'm vocal in any areas where I need to express any anger, emotion, any emotion really. So anger, sadness, gratitude. I try to express it. If it's not vocally, it is going to be written down. So what I started doing is, let me show you. So this is, first and foremost, this is my notebook that I bought when I was back home in Atlanta visiting for Christmas. And what I love most about it is it says Fables on the front. And since you guys know I'm such a geek when it comes to sci-fi or any fantasy type of things, it almost makes me feel like I'm in my own little fantasy world when it says Fables on it, because who knows what I'm writing in here. It could be so many different things. And I started just writing out what is it that you're going to focus on for 2020, and I kind of just took like a whole page dedicated to that. And then I did a list of lifetime achievements that I want to accomplish. Let's see. And then I just kind of just started writing, really. I just started doing all the things that I see in my head and just putting them down. Anytime I listen to music and I have a music video concept, I put it down here. And the one thing that has helped with getting it physically out there is I need to appreciate my writing, even if it's not perfect. And me being a perfectionist, I am hung up over the idea that before I even get it out there, it has to be perfect. And it can't be like that. It has to exist first. So I put down any of the shots that I want to include, storylines, if I want to follow a certain storyline. I did my 2020 goal setting, so for my career, in school, and money, and personal goals. And then like health, relationships, fun. So just a lot of different things that I want to make sure I'm writing in here, as well as a 6 a.m. morning routine. Wanted to get better at doing that, and I've lately been going to the gym. I've been actually waking up at about 4:30, 4:45 and going to the gym with a friend of mine. And it's been really helpful, because I now see what people say when you start your morning off really early and you're back home, by 7:30. You still have all this time to get ready for work, go to class, and it really sets the tone for the day, depending upon how your workout goes. As well as, I also wrote down children books that I want to see as films. And some of these are just like a list of some of my favorite books that I have here. I have Corduroy, Madeline, Harold and the Purple Crayon, The Snowy Day, The Giving Tree, American Girl. I was a big fan of American Girl, Amazing Grace, and there's a couple of more. So some of these children books, when I read growing up, when I look back on them now, it really has a lot of great messages, especially for people of color representation. So I'm going to try to write script ideas for all of them in here. And yeah, so this pretty much just kind of sums up my book. I'm going to make it an effort to carry this with me everywhere I go, to work, to school. If it's not too heavy on my back, I will definitely start carrying with this, with me all the time. Then one of the things I wanted to show you as well were some of my script ideas that I have. So this past, not this past year, but last semester in spring of 2019, I took my first screenwriting class at the community college I go to, Long Beach City. And that was probably one of the most liberating and scary classes I ever taken in my life, because every week we had to produce content that he assigned us to, and it had every assignment had a purpose. And they first started off with 1 page, and then we had to do scripts with no dialogue. We've had to do one where there's maybe no sound, or there's only 2 people in the scene. And every time we would present it, my writing got so much stronger, and just in that semester. And it was such a great decision for me to make, knowing that I had to push myself to have someone to tell me, you need to submit this for a grade. And that really got me onto writing, and everything just flowed from me. It was so frustrating at the same time, because I was like, oh my God, I wanted to sound like this. But then when I started writing, it didn't actually sound as good when it's on paper than when it is in my head. So that was the hardest part, was having to retype and then being like, okay, you know what, let's just submit this. So these are all the scripts that I pretty much wrote physically, that I finally made copies of, that we had to submit. But what's so exciting about this is that I want to actually frame these at one point in my life and put them on my wall, so that when I become an award-winning screenwriter, I can look back and see my beginning stages of my writing and just see how far I've come along. The longest script I ever wrote for that class was my final, which was 18 pages, and it was called Nova. And it's a sci-fi fantasy drama, I would say. It touches on social political issues when it comes to people of color, in particular Black people and Black soldiers. But then also it has a Fifth Element Terminator feel to it, because it has something to do with a Nova. Nova is the android in the film, in the script, that it's centered on. And it is about her and meeting this young boy who is at MIT, Andre, and he's a Black student, and he is into robotics, and he wants to help with making more robotic arms for the military, so to help wounded soldiers that may have lost limbs. But that's just kind of like a glimpse of it. It goes like a lot deeper into it. I really think it could be a great series, because the way I was writing it was just so much that was coming from me. It was just like I had to get it all down. But I only had 15 pages to work with, and I begged him for 3 extra pages just because it wasn't gonna fit. But I just wanted to share with you all, these are all of my work, and honestly, I'm so proud of myself for keeping these copies, for one, and 2, physically being able to push myself to get my writing out there. And I'm trying to remind myself of that every single time I'm writing, that it is okay to allow yourself to fall out of love with the process of writing, because there's nothing wrong with stepping away from it and just having to maybe get re-inspired by something. And right now I'm getting back into that. I'm reaching a point where I want to get back into my writing again and retouch and revisit some of my old scripts. And right now I'm currently working on another project where it is concerning 2 female athletes at UCLA, and it's a LGBTQIA centered series. I think it'd be a great series as well. It's actually very Love and Basketball. If anyone's familiar, I'm sure everyone is familiar with Love and Basketball, that came out in early 2000s or 90s, can't remember. But it came out when I was younger, and everybody loved that love story. So this is a little bit more like it, just because they're two athletes that fall in love, but it's a little bit more serious in regards to real world issues, especially concerning being a part of the LGBTQIA community. But that was all I wanted to share with you guys, and I encourage any of you that if you're really struggling with writing, or just doing something or retouching something that you're haven't really touched upon in a long time, it's okay. I've been there. We all hit those writer's blocks moments, and we all hit those dead zones, but never forget to step back into it, get re-inspired, and never be afraid of your creation being imperfect, because that's how you learn, and that's how I'm learning. So I hope you all enjoyed this little short video. I have to get to doing some of my homework now because I have a very busy schedule this week. So I will see you all next Monday. I will do my phase 3, which is going to be focused on creating. So that's going to be fun, because next week we're going to actually be making, I'm going to be making things, and I'll show you some of the things that I'll be making. So I will catch you all later. Let me know how you all like this video, and I'll see you later. Bye.